Ladies and gentlemen, life will test you not once, not twice, but endlessly. It doesn't care how you feel, what you're going through, or how badly you want a break. Life is ruthless, and that's a good thing, because that pressure, it forges champions. Most people run from discomfort. They beg for ease, but here's the truth. Comfort is the enemy of progress. You weren't designed to live soft, die soft, and be forgotten. You were built to endure, to rise, and to conquer. Pain is something most people run from. They try to avoid it, numb it, suppress it. But those who truly succeed, the ones who rise above mediocrity and command respect in every room they walk into, they don't run from pain, they invite it. Because deep down they understand a truth that weak men spend their whole lives ignoring. Pain is the entrance fee to greatness. You want strength, you don't get it from a quote on Instagram, you get it from being broken and rebuilding, from falling flat on your face and standing up like a monster, from going through days where your mind screams quit, and you do it anyway. That's where real power is forged, in the moments where pain pushes most people to give up, but it makes you go harder. Look at the gym. Muscles don't grow without tension, without tearing, without stress. That pain in your body, it's not punishment, it's progress. Every rep burns, but every burn builds something. Now zoom out. Life is the same. Financial pain, emotional pain, mental stress. These aren't curses. They're tests, and more importantly, they're tickets. Tickets to a life few people will ever get to live. You want a hive, Al. You life, a body of steel, a mind that doesn't bend under pressure. You pay for it in pain. The problem is that society has trained people to believe pain is bad. That the goal is to be comfortable, to feel good all the time. They hand out participation trophies and tell you it's okay to take a break. But what they're really doing is programming you to be soft, and soft people don't win. Soft people complain, blame, and quit. Pain isn't your enemy. Your refiner, it's your mentor, it's your spotter in the gym of life pushing you past your limits. You'll never meet a truly successful man who hasn't gone through hell. You think they were born confident, you think they were handed discipline, vision, and power. No, they were tested. They were broken and humbled by life. They lost everything and kept moving. They were betrayed, broke, depressed, and still showed up to fight. That's how greatness is made. That's how warriors are born. Pain didn't destroy them, it sharpened them. When you go through pain, you face a choice, fold or forge. You can let the pain break you, or let it build you, but you cannot have greatness without it. Every setback, every heartbreak, every failure is an opportunity in disguise. Most people miss it because they're too busy crying about it. Winners, they lean into it. They ask, what is this teaching me? And then they take that lesson and weaponize it. Think about your worst day, the kind of day where everything collapses. You lost money, lost a relationship, got humiliated. In that moment, you feel powerless, but you're not. You're being given something most people never receive, a raw, unfiltered chance to grow. That moment isn't where your story ends. That's where your real story begins, because pain creates clarity. It strips away the noise. It forces you to face your demons, and once you've looked pain in the eyes and smiled, you become dangerous. Pain also has another gift. It reveals who you are. Talk is cheap. Everyone's motivated when things are good. Everyone posts quotes and flexes online when life is smooth. But what do you do when it gets dark, when you're broke and alone, when you're full of doubt and no one believes in you, not even yourself? That's when we see the real you, and if you can survive that, there's not a single thing in this world that can stop you. You have to flip the script in your mind. Stop avoiding the pain. Start using it. Channel it. Let it fuel you. When your legs shake, keep going. When your heart breaks, stand up stronger. When life hits you in the mouth, smile and swing back harder. That's how you earn respect. That's how you separate yourself from the masses. That's how you become elite, because pain doesn't last forever. But the man it builds, that man becomes unstoppable. So next time life tests you, don't flinch. Don't whine, welcome it. Because every ounce of pain you endure is a brick in the empire you're building. You're not weak. You're not a victim. You're a warrior under construction. And pain is your blueprint. The world you live in rewards comfort. It glamorizes the easy route. It celebrates laziness, disguised as self-care. But comfort is a trap. It's a sedative, and worst of all, it breeds cowards. When you live in comfort long enough, you lose your edge. You become slow, weak, and undisciplined. You start believing you're safe, and the second you believe you're safe, you're already finished. Understand something. Life is a battlefield. It's not a yoga class. It's not a spa. It's war. You either attack the day or the day attacks you, and comfort is the biggest enemy in that war. Every test life throws at you is a chance to harden up, to sharpen your blade, to push past your current limit. But when you're comfortable, you avoid those tests, you ignore them, you let them pass and stay exactly where you are. That's how people die long before they're buried. You don't get stronger from what's easy. No man ever became a killer, a king, a conqueror by doing what felt good. Greatness doesn't come from laying in bed, scrolling on your phone, waiting for motivation to strike. It comes from pain, challenge, discomfort, and discipline. The more you avoid the grind, the further you get from power. But the more you lean into it, the more control you gain over yourself. And that is the foundation of real success. Everyone wants to win, but nobody wants to suffer. They want the results without the reps, the praise without the pain, but that's not how this works. You don't deserve anything you haven't bled for. You don't get respect by demanding it. You earn it by becoming someone worth respecting, and you only become that person by facing adversity head on, by saying yes to difficulty, by choosing the hard route on purpose. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something that made you uncomfortable, not because someone told you to, but because you knew deep down it was necessary? Most people avoid those moments. They rationalize. They say, I'll do it later, or I'm just not feeling it right now. And every time they say that, they chip away at their own potential. They become slaves to their emotions, victims of their own comfort. You think you're free because you can sleep in. You think you're winning because you don't have to suffer. You're not. You're trapped. You're stuck in the lowest level of life, mediocrity, because comfort has you by the throat, and life will continue to test you until you learn this one truth. Discomfort in where growth lives. Think about the gym. You go in and what do? You lift weights that strain your muscles. It hurts, it burns, but over time your body adapts. You get stronger. Now apply that logic to your life. If you don't expose yourself to pressure, you'll never grow. You'll be mentally weak, emotionally fragile, spiritually lost, and completely unprepared when real challenges show up. Because here's the thing, life doesn't care if you've been taking it easy. Life will come for you regardless. Death, failure, heartbreak, financial loss, these things will arrive whether you're ready or not. And if you've lived in comfort too long, you won't survive them. You'll fold, you'll break, you'll disappear into the background while the warriors take your place. That's why you need to train discomfort into your system. Wake up earlier than you want to. Work when you're tired. Push when you have no fuel left. Do it because most people won't. Do it because you're not here to be average. Do it because when the test comes, and it will, you want to face it like a beast, not a boy. Every time you say no to comfort and yes to pressure, you separate yourself from the herd. You harden your mindset. You develop the kind of unshakable confidence that only comes from suffering with purpose. That's the difference between a man who watches life and a man who owns it. That's the difference between a peasant and a king. You must become addicted to challenge, obsessed with discomfort. You must love it when it gets hard, because that's the zone where champions are made. Anyone can smile when it's easy. Anyone can be positive when it's working. But who are you when it's brutal, when it's cold, when it's chaos? That's the real test. And if you've been training through discomfort, then that's exactly where you thrive. So no, comfort is not your friend. It's the silent killer of your potential. If you want the life you say you want, freedom, power, wealth, legacy, then you must be willing to do what 99% of men will never do. Destroy your addiction to comfort and embrace the pain that turns boys into monsters. The most dangerous lie you can ever believe is that someone is coming to save you. That one day, a moment will come where it all makes sense, where life gets easier, where someone gives you the answer, the shortcut, the miracle. No one is coming. No one owes you anything. No one's obligated to rescue you from the mess you're in, from the pain you feel, or from the hole you've dug for yourself. And you know what? That's the most liberating truth you'll ever accept. When you finally stop waiting to be saved, when you look around and realize that the cavalry isn't coming, you unlock your power, because for the first time in your life, you see yourself as the solution. You stop outsourcing responsibility. You stop blaming your parents, your boss, your girl, the economy, the government, the system. You stop pointing fingers and start building Weapons, this is what separates men from boys. A boy waits for help. A man becomes the help. He becomes his own savior, his own backup, his own motivator, his own source of strength. When the walls are closing in and the world turns cold, he doesn't beg. He adapts, he acts, he executes. See, life will test you in the worst ways. It'll take your comfort, take your confidence, strip away your excuses, and expose the raw reality of who you are. And most people, they fold, because they were raised to believe that if things get hard, someone else will step in. But the truth is nobody's watching. Nobody cares. The world doesn't stop spinning because you're tired or sad or struggling. You want to be rich. No one's going to hand you a business. You want to be strong. No one's going to do your push-ups. You want respect. No one's going to force people to value you. You must earn it alone. Silence repeatedly, and here's what the weak don't understand. That's not a punishment. It's an opportunity. Because once you accept that it's on you completely, fully, without excuse, you gain full control. If you're responsible for your downfall, you're also responsible for your rise. That's how power works. The man who takes full ownership over his reality is the man who bends that reality to his will. There is no knight in shining armor, no rich uncle, no secret investor, no miracle mindset coach who's going to do it all for you. You have to become dangerous. You have to become someone who refuses to lose, who refuses to sit and rot in self-pity. You have to turn into a man who, when life hits him in the mouth, smiles, because he knows this is where most men break. And he's not most men. This is why discipline matters, because when no one's watching, when no one's texting you to check in, when you're in the pit and you feel like quitting, discipline keeps you alive, motivation fades, friends disappear, but discipline, that's yours. That's the unshakable weapon you build brick by brick, day after day, through reps, routines, and ruthless self-respect. And yes, it's lonely. Sometimes, being the man who handles everything, who never complains, who carries the weight, it gets heavy, but guess what? That weight is what builds you. That's the resistance that forges the frame, the mind, the legacy. You weren't made for light loads. You were made to carry. You were made to lead, but leadership isn't handed out. It's taken, earned in fire. You don't need saving. You need to wake up. You need to get cold, get calculated, and get ruthless about what you want. You need to stop crying for support and start becoming the man others would look to in a crisis. When everything is collapsing, be the one who stands still. When chaos hits, be the one who moves with purpose. That's how leaders are born. Not through speeches, but through suffering. Most of the world is reactive. They wait, they hesitate, they hope. You need to be different. You act. You don't sit back and let life happen to you. You happen to life. Every problem becomes your responsibility. Every obstacle becomes your opponent. Every day becomes a chance to either dominate or decay. There's no neutral ground. So the next time life gets heavy and you start feeling sorry for yourself, remember, you are your own rescue team. No one's coming to pat you on the back. No one's fixing your mindset. No one's clearing your path. That's your job. That's your burden and your blessing. Because when you stop waiting for someone to pull you out and instead dig yourself out, brick by brick, inch by inch, you don't just change your life. You change who you are. You become a man that life no longer tests, because life starts respecting you. The real war is not in the streets. It's not in the economy. It's not in politics or the media. The real war is within. Every single day, the most brutal battle you will face is against your own mind. Your laziness, your doubts, your fear, your excuses. That internal war decides everything. And if you don't learn to dominate it, life will dominate you. Most people think their enemy is external. They blame people, traffic, money, their upbringing, their job. None of those things are holding them back. What's really holding them hostage is the weak voice inside their head telling them they're tired, that it's okay to quit, that they've done enough, that they deserve a break. That voice is a liar, and every time you listen to it, you lose. The strongest men on the planet aren't those who conquer others. They're the ones who conquer themselves. Because if you can master your own mind, if you can silence the inner coward screaming for comfort, you become unbeatable. No challenge scares you. No hardship derails you. No failure breaks you. Why? Because you've already killed the biggest threat, the quitter inside you. It's easy to act strong in public. It's easy to talk tough, post quotes, and pretend like you've got it all figured out. But the truth is revealed when you're alone. When you wake up and the alarm hits at 5 a.m., do you get up or You roll over. When no one's watching, do you go the extra mile or do you take the shortcut? When you're tired, hungry, frustrated, do you fold or do you fight? That's the war, and most men lose it daily. They think discipline is something you do when you're in the mood. It's not. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when your emotions are screaming at you not to. It's the art of ignoring your feelings when they betray your mission. You need to stop trusting how you feel. Your emotions lie to you. They tell you to stay comfortable. They tell you to protect your ego, to avoid rejection, to seek pleasure, to hide from challenge. But every single thing you want in life lives on the other side of those lies, and only a man with a disciplined mind can cross that line. Let me be clear. This is not about motivation. Motivation is a joke. It's a chemical reaction, a mood, a temporary spike. Motivation is unreliable. It disappears when life punches you in the face. That's why motivation is for amateurs. Professionals run on discipline. Soldiers don't need to feel like fighting. They just fight. That's what winners do. They show up regardless. They execute regardless. You think winners wake up every day excited? No, they wake up with purpose. Purpose is stronger than emotion. Purpose doesn't care how tired you are. It doesn't care what happened yesterday. It demands action, and only a man who's won the war within himself has the strength to serve his purpose daily, no matter the cost. The truth is, life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're willing to suffer for, and to suffer consistently, you need discipline. You need the ability to ignore weakness, to override emotion, to obey structure. You need a code. Without a code, you drift. You react, you crumble, but with discipline, you don't just survive, you dominate. Every man should build an internal army. Inside your head should be a general, a soldier, and a judge. The general sets the direction. The soldier executes orders, no matter how hard, and the judge holds you accountable. Most men have a clown inside their head, an excuse maker, a coward, a consumer. Kill him, replace him with a killer mindset, one that doesn't need comfort, praise, or applause, just a mission and a target. If you can win the war within, the outside world becomes irrelevant. Obstacles shrink, competitors look soft, rejection becomes fuel, failure becomes feedback. You stop fearing what the world throws at you because you've already survived something tougher. You've survived yourself, and here's what they won't tell you. Once you've beaten your inner weakness, nothing can ever own you again. Not money, not women, not opinions. You become a man who walks with certainty. A man who builds, who leads, who commands reality. Not because he's perfect, but because he's in control of the only thing that truly matters, his own mind. So stop blaming the world. Stop chasing comfort. The battlefield is in your brain, and the enemy is wearing your face. Go to war every day. Fight that weak voice. Crush it. Ignore its whining, because the man who wins that war isn't just successful. He becomes unstoppable. You don't need motivation. You need discipline. This is one of the most important truths no one ever told you. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. The world is full of people who were motivated for a week. They got hyped by a speech, a quote, a YouTube video. But as soon as life got hard, they vanished. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire. You rely on motivation, you're building a house on sand. But if you build your life around discipline, you become immovable. The problem is, most people think their feelings are facts. They wake up tired and think that means they should take the day off. They feel sad and think it's a reason to quit. They feel bored and take it as a sign to give up. Weak men obey emotions. Strong men obey discipline. Emotion is the language of the average. Discipline is the language of the elite. You see, when you operate based on discipline, your emotions become irrelevant. You train because it's in your schedule, not because you feel like it. You work because the mission demands it, not because you're in the mood. You show up and execute because that's who you are, not because someone hyped you up. That's what separates successful men from everyone else. They don't need to feel good to do what needs to be done. When you're disciplined, you become predictable. In the best way possible, you become someone who can be counted on. You become reliable, stable, and dangerous. People don't take you lightly because they see you show up no matter what. When they sleep, you're working. When they procrastinate, you're moving. When they complain, you're executing. And eventually, the gap between you and them becomes a canyon they can't cross. Understand this, the world does not reward emotion. It rewards results. No one cares if you almost did it. No one cares if you were going to, but Didn't. They care if you did it. They care if you deliver. They care if you dominate. Discipline delivers results. Emotions deliver excuses. And let's not forget, your emotions are not always honest. They lie. They exaggerate. They protect you from hard work. That's their job. Your brain doesn't want you to suffer. It wants comfort. It wants ease, but comfort doesn't make you powerful. Comfort makes you soft. Every time you skip what must be done because you didn't feel like it, you reinforce weakness. You train your mind to expect compromise, and before you know it, you're living a life far below your potential and blaming everyone but yourself. Discipline is freedom. That's the paradox. The man who disciplines his mind and body has more freedom than the man who obeys every impulse. The disciplined man can walk into any room and own it. He can outwork, outlast, and outperform anyone, not because he's more talented, but because he's more consistent. He doesn't crumble when life gets inconvenient. He's not swayed by moods, distractions, or temptations. He owns himself, and that's the highest form of power. And don't misunderstand, discipline isn't about being robotic or cold. It's about choosing what you value most over what you want right now. It's about knowing that long-term success demands short-term sacrifice. It's about creating a system that operates even when you're not at 100%, because no one is at 100% every day, but the man with discipline doesn't need to be. He still wins. Let's be real. There will be days where you're tired, days where you feel broken, days where nothing goes right, and those are the most important days, because those are the days that test your code, that test your identity. Anyone can train when they feel good. Anyone can grind when they are excited, but it takes a savage, a disciplined beast to grind when he's exhausted, heartbroken, or uninspired, and still deliver. So you must build structure in your life, routines, rules, a non-negotiable schedule. Discipline thrives in structure. If you wake up every day and decide what to do based on how you feel, you've already lost. You need to wake up and follow orders, the orders you gave yourself the night before. You need to treat your life like war, because it is. And the most dangerous weapon in that war is a man with unshakable discipline. Start small if you must. Wake up at the same time every day, train when you say you will, stick to your diet, read, work, stay focused, and when that voice in your head starts whispering excuses, silence it with action. You are not your feelings, you are your standards, you are your habits, you are your discipline, because in the end, life doesn't care about your mood. It only respects the man who shows up, day in, day out, no matter what. Be that man. So here we are. You've heard the truth. You've been given the code. Life will test you. It will push, punish, and pressure you relentlessly. But none of that matters unless you decide right now who you're going to be. You can choose the easy route. You can avoid the pain, numb the discomfort, life soft and die invisible. That path is open to you. It's crowded. It's where most people end up. Broke, weak, forgotten, with regret eating them alive. Or you can choose the other path. The path of resistance, the path of war, the path where every test life throws at you becomes a chance to level up. Because pain is not the problem, your response is. Comfort is not a reward, it's a trap. No one is coming to save you. You are your rescue, and the real fight isn't out there, it's in your own mind. If you can conquer that, everything else becomes easy. But to do that, you must master the one thing that separates men from sheep: discipline. Not just when it's easy, every single day. You weren't born to be average. You weren't created to survive. You were made to dominate. Life doesn't hand crowns to cowards. It crowns the man who refuses to fold, who welcomes the tests, who demands the war, because he knows on the other side of that war is the life no one else is brave enough to claim. So when life tests you, don't break. Smile, grind, bleed if you must, and remember, you are not here to be liked. You are here to win. No matter how many times life tries to break you, you do not fold, you do not quit. You rise, you evolve, you conquer, you pass the test. End of story.